in this area here, Miss Letty was one of the caretakers, and she lived in a couple of rooms here because of how the house is set up. And she heard women's skirts rustling out here in the hallway, and she heard sobbing, and she came out, and she saw between where the two rooms are here in the foyer, she saw a casket laid out.
That was not paranormal.
That was not paranormal. A casket with flashlights on the steps.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are you listening to our story? Thank you. Can you turn that off, please? But she saw in the casket, she saw Willie, their son Billy. Billy. They saw Billy. He had been killed at the Battle of Shiloh. And he was, she saw him laying in the coffin here in the foyer. Women crying around him, skirts rustling, that type of stuff. So that's mainly what you see here in this hallway. The night that the Yankees came here and came to this house and raided the house, there was a young slave named Edmund.
Was Edmund a young slave, or was he?
I think he was.
That's Uncle Champ.
It is Uncle Champ, but his...
Was he a young... I thought he was the butler, so he probably was not a young slave.
He was a butler.
No, yeah, well, but he wasn't... If he was a butler, he was not a child.
Right, you have to work your way up.
Hi, Jamie. We are at a historic home, abandoned historic home in Florence tonight, kid.
Uncle Champ was Edmund Patton. Yeah, that's what I was starting
Well,
to
you
say.
said he was a young slave. So,
Well,
he
in
was
this...
been young.
Okay, we had Uncle Champ, and he decided to.
I'm just saying that. I'm not sure he was young.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
He was outside, and he was one with premonitions. And they think that's why he wasn't sleeping that night, is that he had premonitions that something was going to happen.
Could you turn that off again, please, so you can turn it back on when we're correct?
Almost.
Thank you.
Are you Edmund? Are you still guarding and protecting this family, Uncle Champ? Well, I'm going to continue the story. So, he had premonitions, and he heard the Yankees coming. So he tapped on the master's bedroom. The master let him in the front door, and he went over. Uncle Champ went over, protected the stairwell, told him that the Yankees busted through the side door, and he told him that they could not go upstairs because his young mistresses were upstairs sleeping. And for his bravery in protecting the young girls, they gave Uncle Champ some land and built him a house and started him a business.
When the Union troops came up and broke in the house, did they end up staying here for a while?
I don't think they quartered here. No.
They did not. Since that time, they quartered here.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's agreeing with you,
Yeah,
so
it
it's
is.
not.
They agree with me. No, they did not. They came back and quartered here at a different time for a couple of days, but that time they did not.
Yeah, they didn't really actually stay here.
No. They came in, they raided the provisions, and that type of stuff, and then they left.
Did they, I mean, besides provisions, did they steal things like they did in a lot of places?
They did steal some stuff. They took chickens and turkeys and...
The thing is, this family came out of the Civil War still with
Wealthy.
So whatever...
I mean, the raiding of this occurred in 1863. In 1864, they were having big parties here
Okay.
and housing Confederate generals here.
It's a great, and what's saying,
Mhm.
it's like,
Yeah.
Big parties here.
So, yeah,
They did
they,
okay.
yeah,
They did.
yeah.
And with the war going
And that's good
on,
to hear.
and their business must have not been destroyed, or they would have been doing okay.
Right. That's kind of surprising, because a lot of times they burned and destroyed businesses too, especially industry.
And it was a great movie because every time you were talking about it.
Yeah, it was
you're
flashing.
Dim and bright and dim, and I mean, it
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, so it was,
Yeah.
they did not, get all of their
Yep.
belongings. Do you remember the story about the, Confederate soldier that fell in the fountain out front during one of the balls? I think it was in 1864, when you had one of your balls here, the big balls, and you had all military people here and playing music. And the daughters of the house were very gracious in their description of light bulb.
Thank you.
The light
Thank you.
stairs were very gracious about talking about the soldier and how he fell, and he tripped and he fell in the well. Yes, they were very gracious about their description of that. The soldiers that were with him were not so much.
No, I imagine they made fun of him.
Yes, and they did. But the hostess, his daughters were very gracious in their description of him falling in the well. Well, I call it a well. Sorry, it's not a well.
It's a fountain.
Yeah, there's a big difference between a fountain and a well.
I know. That's my fault. I do call it a.
Did they tell that story for a long time?
Uncle Champ used to tell that story, didn't he?
They're still telling that, actually.
Yeah.
Because Sue just did.
And Uncle Champ used to tell the story, and he told it a little bit differently than his mistresses did. Yes.
Yeah.
So I have a question.
Thank
for
you.
And I'm not going to say which way they are, but I have a question for you if you turn the light off. A letter I read that someone wrote about this beautiful plantation, and they were a child, and they used to come up here, and their grandparents were the caretakers here,
Praise God.
taking care of Miss Jessie. So they were the caretakers taking care of Miss Jessie, and they would bring their grandchild up here. And their grandchild used to run.
Yes, thank
they
you.
did.
Thank you, Seth.
Can you turn that back off? Thank you. A little more.
Thank you.
So this grandchild would come up, and they would go in the basement. They'd find treasures. They'd go out. They'd find you pretty rocks, Miss Jessie, and they'd bring them into you. You'd shine them up, and you'd put them on your desk. They were so proud of those rocks they'd pick up. But they were saying how beautiful the gardens were that you had, and that you brought over some bushes from England. You had some beautiful snowball bushes here, some beautiful rose bushes, and just how beautiful a job you had done with the gardens, and just what a beautiful home this was.
Talked about the goldfish.
The goldfish in the pond out front, where the fountains are. It was a beautifully written letter about how, as an adult, looking back on this home.
And something about where was it that played upstairs, and then we found little trinkets and things.
Right. When they would go all over the place. Yes, they did.
Thank you.
They went all over the plantation looking and playing. This little child did, while the grandparents were here being caretakers for Miss Jessie.
Can you turn the flashlight back on so we can ask some more questions? Or tell another memory?
Thank you.